Hey everybody, welcome back. In this episode, I'm going to be doing an update on my stock market days Rubygem because there's been a change to the federal holiday schedule to add a new holiday called Juneteenth. So the major stock market exchanges announced that on June 20th, 2022, they are going to be closing the markets in observance of the new federal holiday. So I need to update this Rubygem, which I'm using in my programs to keep track of which days the market is closed so that my stock scanning programs don't run on those days. To make sure that they didn't take away a holiday and that we're just adding one, I did a quick check of a 2021 calendar on what the anticipated holidays were just to make sure that they didn't take something else away, and it looks like they just added Juneteenth, so everybody gets an extra day off, so that makes our work here a little bit easier. The way that this program works is I have this calculator module which allows you to determine whether the market is open on a particular day using the isMarketDay ? Method. You could also calculate days between days that the market was open so that I know how many trading days passed over a given period of time. And the way that calculates this is it references a file here called Nice Market Days, and I've compiled a list of all of the days that the stock market is anticipated to be open all the way up to the year 2058. Yeah, I think I last updated this in 2018, and I just wanted to calculate a good 40 years out. I figured things might change within that time frame, and I could update it later if I'm still here in 2058. So here's the plan. I'm going to digest this file by loading it into a Ruby script on the command line. We're going to take out all the future Juneteenth dates on this list, and we're going to write some test coverage for this so that we could make sure that the new holiday is being covered correctly. And let's try to do this to account for weekends, because according to the rules on federal holidays, if a federal holiday falls on a Sunday, we take the next Monday off. If it falls on a Saturday, we take off Friday. So we're going to have to account for that logic as well in modifying our list of dates. All right, so I added a test here to this test file, and we're going to do the test-driven development methodology here where we write the test first, and then we're going to run it, and then we're going to fix the data, or we're going to fix the program, and then we're going to try to get this test passing. So in my criteria here, I have several dates that I'm testing. It's a little different from the other tests, and that I'm testing whether it accounts for the weekends correctly. So I'm going to run the test. It should fail. Then we're going to update the list using a little bit of custom manipulation I'm going to do on the command line, and then this should be passing. Alright, so we're going to run this test file, and the test should fail. Oh, interesting, we need to bundle install first. Alright, as expected, that test failed. So let's go into the command line, and we're going to try to update the list. And I'm just going to do that by loading it as an array and getting rid of the Juneteenth dates. We're going to use the pry console. Pry is kind of an enhanced version of the standard Ruby console. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to load the contents of that file from lib market open days nice market days. Alright, so read the contents of the file. Now we got to parse that. I'm going to read it using the split command. So now we have our array of all the dates. Now here's where we got to come up with the list of Juneteenth dates going into the future so that we know which ones to remove. So I'm going to do this. We're going to do 2022 all the way up to 2058. We're going to iterate on that. Oh, we got to load the date module because we're just in pry. Okay, so that gives us a list of all of the Juneteenth dates going into the future up until the end of this schedule. But here's the tricky part. We got to adjust them though for weekends. So let's take a random one. Okay, so we have our date object. So we could determine which day of the week a particular day is on the calendar by using the string format time method. There's a weekday that it gives, and let's make use of the W option. So if it's a 0, it's Sunday. If it's a 6, then it's a Saturday. So like this first day here, we know that's a Sunday. We use the W option, it should pop up with a 0. There we go. So let's go through and adjust these dates, and we'll check them against the actual calendar. So let's write a little bit of a code here. Alright, so I wrote this little block here, and what we're doing is we're looking at all the future Juneteenths in our list, and we're using the case statement to say if the day of the week is 0, meaning a Sunday, we adjust the date by adding 1. If it's a Saturday, we adjust the date by taking away a day, making it Friday. Anything else, we just return that same date. And we did a map, so we get the whole list of adjusted dates. Let's go ahead and check this against the calendar. So looks like in 2032, it would fall on Sunday again. So in 2032, we have June 19th falling on a Saturday. It adjusted it to the 18th. Now, one thing I'm still a little bit unclear about is whether they're always going to have it on the 19th, or if it's falling on a weekend on that Monday or Friday, so it's going to be a specific day like we do Christmas, or is the government going to always turn it into a 3-day weekend where they'll do like the nearest Monday, like the 4th Monday in June. I don't know how this is going to change, so maybe we're going to have to go back and modify this again. But for now, I'm working under the assumption that it's always going to be on that day on the 19th that we're going to have a market close. So on a lot of the years, it's just going to be a midweek day. Okay, so now we've got to edit our list. So we have all dates, and we have our adjusted Juneteenths. Let's go ahead and modify that so that it has the text string. So we'll do this. Okay, that converted our array to text string. So now what we could do is we could remove all of these. So I used the minus operator and tried to do a subtraction. Let's see if that worked. Oh. All right. And it can't find that. All right, so we'll do 2022, 620. Can't find that on the list. Shouldn't have 619 because of Friday, but it will have 621. So seems that the list is correct. Now we just got to save this list back. So we're going to do a join. I'm going to merge this array using new lines, and we're going to write it to the file. So I'm going to open up that file again, and we're going to write the new dates to the file. Oh. Let's open it up for overwriting with just a W. If we were going to do an append, I think it would be W plus, if I recall correctly. Alright, so the file is written. And I think a good way of seeing what's changed is we'll just use our git diff, and it should show us all the dates that were taken out of the file. There you go. We removed all of those future June 19th, June 18th, or June 20th corresponding dates. So now if we try to run the test should work. And there we go. So because this is a Ruby gem, one more thing that we have to do is we have to update the file and change logs and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But first, let's make sure GitHub didn't put any automated updates in this thing. So I'm going to stash my work quickly, and then I'm going to do a pull. Yeah, so it looks like GitHub, occasionally they do updates of dependencies in your gem file, and it looks like they may have added a couple of commits. Let's take a look at the logs. Okay, not exactly. Okay, I merged a pull request from somebody else there. It's a good thing we did that update. So now we could pop our stash, and then I'm going to add this and do the commit. Okay, so I'm going to go into the gem spec file, Stock Market Days version. We're going to open up that, and I'm going to bump up the version to 1.1.0. And one more thing I want to do is this package directory. That is something related to Rubygems, which I'll talk about in just a moment here. But as you can see here, this has the Rubygems meta file that we're going to push up to the rubygems.org website. So I'm going to add that to our git ignore so that we don't push that up into our repository because we don't really need it. All right, so we have our commit. We're going to push up the new master. And the final step that I'm going to do here is I'm going to update the repository on rubygems.org so that people referencing this in their gem file will have the latest version available to them. And rubygems.org gives us a command line utility for building and pushing these things up to their website, and we're going to use that. Okay, I'm not too worried about these recommendations. It looks like it successfully built the Ruby gem. So now we can use gem push. Alright, so I got to enter the authentication code. It's a security measure. Alright, so it's successfully pushed up. Let's take a look at rubygems.org. So here's the page for the gem. And now the latest release is available, version 1.1.0. Let's go ahead and test this out by updating the bundle in the program that I'm using this in. So I'm currently using this in a program called Stock Trend Finder. I'm going to do a bundle update on that particular gem. Yep, it did the update from version 1.0 to 1.1. Alright, so I'm going to push this current branch up, and I'm going to log into my development server and try to run the update. Alright, as you can see, the server's up right now on Chowstella port 4000. Okay, now I could do a Docker restart. Well, looks like I'm having a problem in that it needs to run a bundle update on the back end. So let's go ahead and do that using the docker compose run command. Yeah, I admit that this particular setup that I have is kind of hacked together for this application, and it's not really run with the finesse that a real production application should. It's just an experimental thing that I'm doing. But this should fix up the problems in the container. Alright, looks like it's running again. Let's check. And there we go. The application's up and running again. So I hope this was a good overview showing you how to go through the process of updating Rubygem. We had a fun little real-life example of a problem solved with the change in federal holiday dates, and we updated an open source gem. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next Ruby on Rails video.